Welcome to Know Your Mobile. I am Basil and I'm here at the HTC One launch. The HTC One is the latest flagship from HTC. It packs a 4.7-inch Full HD display, giving it a whopping pixel density of 468. But the fantasticness doesn't stop there. It's an all-metal design and it is absolutely beautiful, and that's what we're going to start by talking with. So in the center stage, it's that 4.7-inch display. Below are two capacitive buttons either side of the HTC insignia. Up top and bottom are stereo speakers beneath micro-drilled holes. Up at the top left on the front is a wide-angle front-facing camera with HDR and optical image stabilization. Crazy stuff. And to the left-hand side, there are no buttons whatsoever, just a micro SIM card slot under ejectable. On the right side is a volume rocker, and it looks like it's got a beautiful spiral metal effect. Really does feel like a premium handset. At the base is a micro USB port, while up top is that infrared remote control that we've read about, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Why an infrared remote control? Because this has a beautiful, beautiful application called Sense TV, which interacts with your television, unsurprisingly. We're going to go into that later, but we're going to next move on to the display. With a pixel density of 468, it is the sharpest screen out there. However, it isn't just sharp, it's SLD3, so it looks really beautiful and vibrant. HTC have always produced phenomenal screens. Take the One X, for example. And this is not going to be a letdown in any way. As far as the user interface goes, it's a new version of Sense 5, and as you can see, we're constricted to two home screens. We can add a home screen. As you can see, it says Add Panel, but we're going to stick with two to just show you how the key functionality works. Your default screen is this thing called Blink Feed. It's an aggregator of content. What kind of content? Well, you can really choose. It can either aggregate content from, I think it was 1,400 sources that were mentioned earlier. But you can also sync it up with your Facebook, your Twitter, and pull them through as well. As you can see, it updates when you pull up, which is really nice stuff, and it won't update unless you do. So it's not going to destroy your battery life. You've also got this sticky clock up top, and if we jump into the applications drawer, the clock stays there. The clock display is on the applications drawer display is on a 3x3 grid, but that can actually be changed. If we pull up again, we can access a grid size menu, which allows us to swap it out to a 4x5 grid. All in all, the UI is very, very different, and it might not appeal to stock Android fans. However, it certainly is innovative. You can really tell HTC have thought about this, and we can see us using this, say, isolating our Twitter feed and using it for Twitter, for example, or even just picking it up, glancing and going. And what HTC call it is snacking on content. Bit cheesy, but we can see where they're getting at with it. The other home screen is standard Android home screen. You can just add widgets and shortcuts to your heart's content and treat it like any other Android phone, but this isn't any other Android phone. One of the reasons for that is you've got that 4-megapixel rear-facing camera. 4 megapixels sounds very, very low, but don't stress. The pixels on this camera are actually larger than any other phone out there. Roughly 300% more light is gathered by the HTC One camera, and the reason for that is it's going to work incredibly well in low light. It's also got optical image stabilization, which basically means that your handshake is compensated for, and at nighttime that is absolutely invaluable. The reason that so much emphasis has been put on the camera is that HTC have included something called HTC Zoe. This feature allows you to take both photo and video simultaneously, recording a 3.6-second video and a 20-shot burst at 8 frames per second, I do believe. It conglomerates these elements into one beautiful thing. Now, a Zoe can be taken at face value with just the images and the photos, or it can be turned into a montage called an HTC... Do you remember what the montage is called? The Zoe HTC highlight. Zoe highlight? Yeah, it's called an HTC Zoe highlight. And that's set against music, against the filter, and it just looks really neat. And there's a very easy way for anyone to just take content and turn it into something special. The camera options have a few other elements, but we're going to go into them in another video. For now, all that's really left to say is there's 32 gigabytes of memory on here. You've got a quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon processor, and it's a 600, we do believe. So that's insane amounts of power with 2 gigabytes of RAM. It's non-expandable, so no micro SD cards. So anyone who thinks that is too little storage, we're afraid it's not good news for you. But there is 25 gigabytes of Dropbox storage included with the HTC One handset. I've been Basil. This has been a quick first look hands-on with the HTC One. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to fire them in the comment section below.